is Dubs OT.
Can't wait.
With John Dickinson.
Hey, JD, what you up to, sugar? Long time no talk to.
On KNBR 104.5 and 680. Streaming live at KNBR.com and on the KNBR app.
Knocked away. Green with the steal. Payton. Room service. Thompson had it knocked away. Swarming Warriors defense. Pajensky. Did he get the timeout? Yes, he did. They are sprinting through the tape here in San Francisco.
And the Warriors with a 35-22 fourth quarter from down 2 in a game they had to play without Jimmy Butler. Couldn't go due to the pelvic injury. And the Warriors find a way to rally and get the win in Game 3. 104-93 is the final. It was the Steph Curry show with a little bit of help from Buddy Heield and Gary Payton II down the stretch. That trio leading the Warriors in scoring, a whole lot of defense. Draymond Green was a madman in the fourth quarter. Made life hell on Alperen Sengun for a good portion of the night, and especially in the fourth quarter. So the Warriors have the 2-1 series advantage. We welcome you in to Dubs OT with JD John Dickinson here from Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. And it is a festive and jacked up Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City.
People are wearing the shirts, bro. People are wearing the shirts. I know that's what everyone wants to know. We got a lot of gold right now.
Greg Silver is here. Kyle Haar is in our San Francisco studios. We got Derek Papa in the house here. We got Marcus, the Waterboy Boucher, in the house tonight. And the Warriors, wow. I mean, I don't know if this win ends the series for the Rockets, Greg. I'd be willing to say no, just based on the fact that we don't know whether Jimmy Butler is going to be able to play on Monday. Sounds like it's trending toward being a possibility. But we thought, at least I did, when Kyle and I did a little Just Dubs Game 3 preview, it was trending, I thought, toward him playing in this game. But the report from Shams pregame that mobility an issue, some swelling, and Jimmy Butler came in this afternoon, and basically it wasn't going to be happening. The Warriors waited until they had to make it official, and it looked through a good chunk of the night, Greg, like the Warriors just weren't going to have enough. They looked really first half and even on into the third quarter like the team that we've seen them be so often without Jimmy Butler pre-trade or when he's been out due to injury. But Steph Curry took the game over. And they got enough from Buddy. They got enough from GP. They got a little bit from Kuminga early in the third quarter. Quentin Post rebounding. I mean, there are a lot of heroes for the Warriors in this one, but it truly starts. It starts with 30 tonight. I mean, just incredible. Put the team on your back and bring you to victory kind of a night for Steph.
Does it ever start and end with 30? I mean, does it ever not start and end with 30 in the sense of if we're talking about a Warriors win, that's just kind of the reality of the situation, and that's who he's been. Take Jimmy Butler away, and here's the reality, JD. I don't think that this Warriors team on your average night without Jimmy Butler is a top 8 team in the Western Conference because they were already teetering around 10 at the time when they didn't have Jimmy Butler and they did have Andrew Wiggins. So take Jimmy Butler off of this team when you've already lost Andrew Wiggins and a guy like Kyle Anderson or Schroeder or Lindy Waters or guys who are contributing. On average, I don't think it's a top 8 team in the Western Conference, but guess what? They showed up tonight. It started and ended with 30, and you said a little help from Buddy Heield. I'm going to change that to a lot of help from Buddy Heield because at the time when Buddy Heield was finding his shot and he ended with those 5 threes, the Warriors outside of Steph had no offense going. So Derek Papa's sitting right here to my right. He passed along a nice little note off the top of his dome after 12 minutes of this one. He goes, the Warriors have scored 18 in the first quarter of every game this series, and they hold a 2-1 lead right now. This is not a series-ending win by any means. Rockets could absolutely respond. Jimmy Butler might not play Game 4. I'm not going to get ahead of myself in that regard, but I will say, if you're Houston, this is demoralizing.
It is for sure, and the Rockets, I thought tonight, throughout a good chunk of this game, we're going to get away with the fact that pretty much all of their young players didn't look ready to play a road playoff game. And I thought that was an advantage that the Warriors were going to have coming into this game at full strength. And it's the advantage you want to have after stealing a game on the road. It's the fact that Thompson and Sengun and Jaylen Green and Tari Eason and Jabari Smith Jr., those guys would be playing their first road playoff game of their careers. And early on, it was Fred VanVleet keeping the Rockets from really being in a bad spot, even though the Warriors couldn't score, because he was doing all the scoring for the Rockets in this one. Dylan Brooks, they were going to have to rely on those guys who had been through it a little bit before to kind of get them through, but maybe not, because if the Warriors, and it looked like they were going to have trouble scoring 90 in this game, let alone 104.
75 at one point.
I mean, it was ugly. And they didn't score a single point for about 5 minutes, bridging the two quarters, first and second quarter. They didn't score a single point when Steph Curry was out of the game in the first half. And so it looked like it was almost going to be the kind of game that the Rockets had to have in order to get a win at Chase Center in this series, especially get the first one with the Warriors shorthanded and not having Jimmy Butler and not really knowing where to go to get any offense. You know they'd look to try to take Steph Curry away, but Steph wasn't having it. He kept going and kept attacking. It was a lot like game one for Steph, where he used the mid-range and the ability to drive to set up the three ball later. To your point, though, on Buddy Heield, 5 of 11 from three. He hit as many threes tonight as Steph Curry did, and the Warriors needed every single one of them to be able to prevail in this game. I mean, how big is GP2? How big was GP2 tonight? You talk about making threes and cutting, and we were wondering if Jimmy couldn't play, where would that leave Jonathan Kuminga? Kuminga ended up starting. The game that the Warriors, I think, would have loved to have seen from Jonathan Kuminga, they got from GP2. Defense, cutting, knocked down open threes, played simply, and just really took advantage. And this was something I talked about with Derek and Copes. The Warriors really felt they had the ability to start using the way that they were defending, the Rockets are defending Curry, to get back cuts, to get drives. And you saw GP2 take advantage of that once Steph got on his heater. They used that to prevail in this one tonight.
So here's what struck me about GP2 tonight is that even with Jimmy Butler, but especially once he went down and it was without, there was a big discussion on who's going to be unlocked with a pick and roll through Steph Curry, because Jimmy Butler really doesn't do that. Draymond Green will do that with Steph, and these two know each other really well, but it's not like a constant thing, and Draymond is more wanting to set screens, and if he gets it off the roll, he's looking to kick it to whoever's open in a 4-on-3 situation rather than go and score himself. Moses Moody was someone that we talked about on Pop and Silver with Brian Anderson, who was calling game 2 out in Houston. He had a couple of shots early, but then the whole Warriors offense, once Jimmy went down in Houston, was really an effective game too. Jonathan Kuminga was a name that certainly came up, especially when he went into the starting lineup tonight. But it ended up being GP2 as the perfect pick and roll match, and you saw it in the fourth quarter. And it's weird because he's a power forward. He just happens to be in a 6'2" body, and he played the perfect role of that pick and roll partner to Steph, getting advantage at the rim, hit a couple of crafty layups, and then what he did defensively too. Kuminga did not close the game. Somebody had to guard Jaylen Green. GP2 got that assignment, and Jaylen Green was ice-cold shut down tonight.
It was game one, Jaylen Green. We saw what the Rockets needed from Jaylen Green to beat the Warriors in game 2, and we saw the way he looked in game 1 and what that meant for the outcome of this game, and this was the game 1 Jaylen Green on hand in game 3. Again, all right, Warriors get the win, 104-93 the final, 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. The phone lines are open. Let's react to this one, Dub Nation. We appreciate everybody watching on YouTube and Twitch as folks are continuing to file in. Harmonic is jam freaking packed right now. We got a line almost out the door with people ready to get their beers, ready to celebrate this Warriors victory.
This is the most effort I've ever had to put into listening to JD while doing a show together.
And Greg's sipping on a little something, a little prog rock or maybe a Kolsch. I got the prog rock going tonight. Marcus Boucher is in the house. Derek Pop is in the house. We'll get to the YouTube chat as well. 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627, the Golden State Lumber and Showroom text line. Is this series over? I'm kidding. Kyle, that's not our question of the night. Is this series over? But I think from the Rockets' point of view, you said it, demoralizing for the Warriors to be able to beat them. Our buddy Gene McIntyre, who I met in Houston prior to game 2, says Warriors in 6. I think Now if you're Golden State, you're hoping you can get Jimmy Butler back Monday, win that game, take your chances with whatever in Game 5 back in Houston, and know that you've got Game 6 in your back pocket down the stretch to be able to attempt to close the series out.
Yeah, well, we were having a lot of talks about it. I still thought it had the chance to be a long series. I can understand why after Game 1 you're feeling very confident if you're on the Warriors side to go in. Houston is a good team. I'm not trying to say that they're not. I also called them, and I'm going to stand by it after Game 2. They're a really unserious team, and maybe tonight they weren't as fooling around or not understanding of the situation as was really what you just said, which is a lot of these young guys weren't ready to play a road playoff game. I think that was more the case tonight. But Game 2, even with Jimmy Butler went out, Brandon Podziemski looked like, and I admire that he tried to play, but that food poisoning or whatever happened with him, he did not look like he should have been out there. Quentin Post struggled in both tonight and Game 2, and really everybody except for Pat Spencer off the bench in Game 2 did not provide that spark, and Steph wasn't having a Superman night. So I don't think the Rockets were necessarily unserious tonight, but they put themselves in a tough position when this was your chance to go get home court back. You're on the road. Jimmy Butler's not playing, and now Jimmy Butler might be back Monday. If he's pissed off, I don't know how mobile he's going to be and how much he's going to tolerate the pain, but if Jimmy Butler's pissed off, that's not good for Houston.
Well, I'm of the belief that it gets harder for the team in the Rockets' position to win the one road game they have to win with each game. I think your best chance is to get it right back in Game 3. I think the next best chance is to get it in Game 4 and even it back up before you go back home. I think the most difficult one, obviously, to win is if you're down 3-2 and you have to come back for a Game 6. Now, you factor in the Jimmy Butler component in addition to that, and I truly think this is a missed opportunity for the Rockets. And it's the kind of thing, I'm not declaring the series over by any means. And, again, we don't know if Jimmy Butler is going to be able to play on Monday. But I think the Rockets are really going to be kicking themselves because they had the Warriors playing terribly really until Steph Curry decided he was going to try to take the game over in the second quarter and keep the Warriors afloat in this game. And now it becomes a situation where they have to bounce back off a game where the Warriors didn't have Jimmy Butler, potentially with Jimmy Butler. And again, that in and of itself just makes the Rockets' path to this series and the game that they have to win inside the building that sits behind us here at Harmonic Chase Center, it just makes it that much more difficult. And so now there's a psychological component to the Rockets. Missed a lot of open shots tonight. They missed a lot of layups tonight. Sengun looked overwhelmed. I might, by the way, have to start changing my opinion on Amen Thompson. I know I've called Amen Thompson not a dirty player. I know I said I didn't think the play was a dirty play. Some of the stuff he was doing down the stretch tonight, especially the last foul when he kind of threw Curry and then just kind of walked away indignantly. I'm sorry, that's dirty player stuff. That is like Dylan Brooks is my vet, and I want to be like him. I'm sorry. I gave Amen Thompson the benefit of the doubt, but the stuff that he was doing down the stretch tonight, basically when the game was decided, it makes me reevaluate what his intent or was or wasn't going back to Game 2.
No, that's fair. I think that's completely fair. That's a good example, too, with throwing Curry down late in the game and that foul. And I know it's physical series, it's frustration. Officiating was
when you're throwing your body around, like the Rockets, and this was my benefit of the doubt, was the fact that I don't think there was intent necessarily behind the play in Game 2. But when you're throwing your body around without really caring about the consequences, that's kind of how you're dirty without really being dirty.
Right.
And so he got thrown down, and that's a point in which the game is over, basically. You don't need to do that in that moment unless you're trying to send a message, or again, maybe you're frustrated because you've never been there before and you're learning how to lose that first road playoff game with a little bit of dignity. But either way, I didn't like it, and it made me rethink Amen Thompson from going back when I was intent on giving him the benefit of the doubt off of Game 2.
Well, here's what I'll say to kind of tie together both of the last two discussion points. So number one is this series is not over by any stretch, right? We could be sitting here Monday, and I will be out here Monday. We're going to have JD, Kyle, and Silver with you for Game 4. And if we're talking about a series that's tied 2-2, well, it's a best of 3 in which the Warriors are going to have to win a road game. So I'm not saying that this is over by any stretch. We also don't know Jimmy Butler's status, and if Jimmy Butler does end up playing, we don't know what he's going to look like. All that being said, to tie that in with the fact of everything you just said, this was a chance for the Rockets to go and steal one, and I do question now, and maybe they respond really well in Game 4, but I do question with the way that one ended, JD, are they just a little bit too reckless, undisciplined, and uncomposed to handle tying the series on the road?
And the one thing you find is the more a team like that has to face adversity, the more their true colors, whatever they are, start to show. Good, bad, or indifferent. And so I think that's something to keep an eye on as we get to Monday and this series with the Warriors trying to take the 3-1 lead going back to Houston. I don't know that I can say this. Dr. P.I. I can't say that.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Well, in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Boy, Thompson is Dr. P. We're going to call him Dr. P. We'll call him Dr. P. Kyle, let's start with that. Dr. P. Boy, Thompson is immature and irresponsible. Udoka and Brooks are dirty, and it rubs off on all their young players. Yeah, I think that's well said, Dr. P. I think that's
one of George Carlin's 7 forbidden.
The letter P.
Yes.
Yeah, you can blank your blank, but you can't blank your blank. You know that whole thing. Yeah, Kyle, look that one up. Kyle, that's where Greg, being the same age or younger than Kyle, but like going on 20 years older than me is beneficial.
Yeah,
because that's some George Carlin making an appearance on Dubs OT from the younger of the two hosts. By the way, I love it. Yeah. So I do think it rubs off. San Jose Jazz fan 4, Amen Thompson from San Leandro, and hates Steph. Go figure. I don't think he hates Steph. I think he's trying to win, but I also think I'm shifting. You know how like during the election, it'll be like lean this or lean that. It'll be like toss up to lean this. It was toss up. Is Amen Thompson a dirty player? It was a toss-up after Game 2. It's lean dirty after Game 3 for me. I'm going to speak for myself, and I'm going to put my name on it.
Yeah, well, let's find out for sure. Dylan Brooks, what did he have, 4 fouls in the first half, and they kept him in?
He did. He ended up fouling out. Serenaded with the Warriors as he was removed from the game after picking up his 6th foul.
I got to say, I was sitting there on that 6th foul, the one that Brooks fouled out, and I'm thinking, if you're a Warriors fan, would you almost just take the Podziemski 3 and not the 6th foul? It all ended up working out in the end.
Well, yeah.
But in the moment, I'm like, and actually, that would have been a big 3 by Pods. And by the way, Brandon Podziemski, turns out that when he isn't clearly impacted by food poisoning, pretty damn good player. Not saying he had an amazing game, but he certainly played like a closer, and that's big because he's playing in his 3rd playoff game, and he played like a closer.
Darby Sevens. I did not think the Warriors were going to win that one. I did not either, but it was tantalizingly right there for them to grab, and I didn't think – to me it was going to wind up being one of the more frustrating losses, although understandable, had the Warriors wound up losing the game. Dylan Brooks tonight picks up a foul in the first 11 seconds. Fred VanVleet was carrying him as we kind of get into some of the other thoughts here. Kuminga turnover on the entry pass early, like right off the top. Draymond's got to ditch the three-pointer, by the way. Early note, I'm kind of going through my first quarter bullet points here, Greg. Neither team was hitting, but VanVleet, I thought, as I said off the top, prevented the Rockets from being in a really bad place in the beginning of this one. And the question that was just in my mind all night, and really up until Steph decided he was going to try to take it over, how are the Warriors going to find enough offense to win this game? And it ended up being GP2. It ended up being Buddy Heield. It ended up being Steph pushing 40 as opposed to settling in at 25. He was aggressive. And I thought tonight, and this is a key point, I thought tonight Steph was aggressive not necessarily looking to shoot, but he was aggressive to play make for others. He made every play for the Warriors down the stretch, whether it was his shot or a shot for somebody else. Aggressive isn't just casting off. And he took some heat check threes tonight, to be sure. But aggressive is making plays for other. Aggressive is getting into the paint, hitting pull-up jumpers. I mean, he was hitting mid-range tonight. He was getting to the bucket with floaters tonight. And he was setting others up for some big-time shots. I mean, this is not just a 36-point Steph effort. This was a 36, 7, and 9 assists with 2 blocks and a steal, Steph Curry. I mean, that's what you call a LeBron line. That's what you call a Giannis line. Like that's a LeBron line.
Or that's what you call a playoff Jimmy line.
He did it all and set others up in addition to an efficient night. But to me, it goes back to 7 of 10 on twos for Steph Curry in this game. And that's the in-between in the Rockets defense that they give you. I'm going to look at where these shots were from. 7 of 10 on twos. He was 4 for 5 in the paint. And you look, I mean, it was mid-range. He hit 3 mid-range jumpers. He hit 4 in the paint. And a lot of them were the floaters. And again, he hit 7 of 8 from the free throw line. But 7 of 10 on twos tonight for Steph Curry, taking that in-between game.
So I got a quick question for you, and I don't want to butt into fun with numbers here in segment number 1. He played 1 second shy of 41 minutes tonight. Is that his high for the entire year? He didn't play the first overtime game in Houston.
He played 42 in Houston.
I think you're right.
He played 42 in game 1.
42 in game 1. Okay.
Yeah.
That's right. And then I'm trying to remember where he played in the last regular season game against the Clippers.
And you give Steve Kerr credit. You give Steve Kerr credit in a big way for riding it out, because when you don't score for the entire time that he sits on the bench in the first half, you're a little tentative to sub him out, as Kerr did in the fourth quarter when you're up by 1. Warriors held their own in those minutes. They ended up 1 when Steph came back into the game, and that ended up being, I think, a big part of the difference. What's going on? How are you? Good. You want to hop in here? No. We're on the radio and on YouTube and doing a podcast and all of that. What's your name? Rob? Nice to meet you, Rob. Great. Rob checking in right here. Thanks for checking in.
Hey, Rob,
come on over here, Rob. Come on over. Say hi to the people. The people want to meet Rob.
Did you wear your shirt tonight, Rob?
The people want to meet Rob. Yeah, Rob, did you wear your shirt in the arena, or did you give it away? You got it right here? He's got it. He was waving it as a towel. That's okay. That's acceptable. We'll take that. Rob, what? Let's give Rob a mic here. Sorry, Greg. I don't mean to take your mic. Rob, what did you think of the game tonight? Give me your top 2 things tonight, Rob. What do you got?
Well, winning without
hold it up a little higher. There you go.
Winning without Jimmy was huge, because when he comes back, I mean, look what could have happened with Jimmy in there.
Yeah.
And I think it gave sort of the non-Steph players a lot more confidence.
Flips the series.
So I think they're looking pretty good for the rest of the series. This was a crucial game, and it looked like in the beginning, though, Houston was getting all the rebounds. They were hitting threes, but they were able to lock them down. Midway through the second quarter, and it looked good from there. So,
yeah. Rob, great stuff. Great thought. Nice meeting you. Great thought. I mean, to win without Jimmy Butler. Thanks, Rob. Enjoy. Appreciate it. Great. Rob. Rob. Absolutely. Rob. Here, joining the conversation. Anytime we can just, less Greg Silver. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. What's going on, bro? Absolutely. Will. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you.
What's going on, Will?
Hey, say what's up to Greg Silver, too. Greg.
Good to meet you, man.
Yeah, you want to? You don't have to give him the mic, but
I would love to give him the mic.
No, you can. Yeah, let's. All right, Will, step on over here, Will. Step on over so we can get you on the camera here.
So,
just don't swear. That's the only rule. You can't swear.
On God.
All right, you swear, we've got to throw you out of here.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. The only thing I want to spread: Moses, mother-looking
Bleeping Moody, yeah. Moses Bleeping Moody.
He deserves the love. I came on about 2 months ago.
Duck down a little bit, Will. Duck down a little bit.
I came on about 2 months ago, and I wanted Moses Moody to play the minutes he deserves. And God damn it, did he?
That's okay.
Did he play the minutes he deserves? I just think Moses Moody, even if he doesn't make the shots he makes, Pajanski, Kuminga.
How about GP2 tonight?
GP2. No, it doesn't matter. I just want to show love. All those guys make shots and shoot shots, but my guy, Moses mother-looking Moody.
Good. Will, great. He got the job done tonight.
He does what he needs to do. Even if he doesn't make shots, he gets rebounds. Even if he doesn't make assists, he gets those fucking rebounds.
Oh, Kyle.
So
all right. Will. All right, Will's disqualified. Come on, Will. Man, it was going great.
Oh.
808 KNBR. Come on, Will. You're gonna get our guy Kyle in trouble, man.
Kyle dump hard. Hey, here's what I will say though on Moses Moody.
Can't do that.
No, tonight, was it Moses Moody's best game? No. Did he get the job done? Yes. I think what Will was trying to get to, though, is that Moses Moody is one of the players that benefit the most from Jimmy Butler's arrival. And I know Jimmy didn't play tonight, but the reason that he did is because we know this from you having covered the Warriors for a long time and me being at KNBR for a little bit shorter, but watching a lot of Dubs basketball. When Steve Kerr makes decisions about lineups and trust, it always leads with defense. Moses Moody embraced the role of being that ball stopper now that Andrew Wiggins is off the team, and that's why he's gotten his opportunity to get more minutes. So does he need to find a shot a little bit more consistently if the Warriors are to make a run? Absolutely. But Moses kind of has a little bit of that steady presence that you were missing tonight with Jimmy Butler not being there. It's not the same offensively. It's not necessarily the same defensively, but it is a little bit of that stability.
808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. Let's get one call before we take a timeout. We'll take our first timeout. Danny in Vancouver is up here on Dubs OT on the Sports Leader. Danny, what's going on tonight? We have one rule, Danny. I know you're not going to violate it, but there's one rule, my man.
JD, great to talk to you guys as always. Kevin, of course, is awesome taking the calls. Watching Will, he was like walking a tightrope in a gale storm, and I felt he's getting close, and then he went off the edge.
And then he went off the edge. That's right.
Just went off the edge. What a fantastic game. What a great day of basketball, by the way. I'm sure you guys watched some of that Denver game. That was amazing.
Incredible. That's been a terrific series.
Really, really good. So proud of Warriors today. I was it's funny. I was thinking back to the game where Steph only had 3 points and Thompson was being hailed as, the future defensive player of the year, and the Rockets. And I thought Houston, I honestly thought they were playing with a bit of fool's gold at that time. They caught the Warriors at the end of a long road trip, very tired, just exhausted. Curry didn't have it. But you know what? He's figured it out. The Warriors have figured it out. And I thought they got great contributions. I thought GP was the unsung hero tonight. I thought Quentin Post was rebounding, playing great D. Didn't shoot well, but I didn't think he got a lot of good opportunities to shoot. And the defensive effort was incredible, absolutely incredible. And I think I will make my prediction now that barring any long absence from Jimmy Butler, I think the series is over. I'm not saying it's going to be 5, but I think the Warriors have figured out the Rockets, and I think we're gonna take it in 5 or 6 maximum now. I feel confident about that, and I totally, by the way, agree with Greg. Even if Houston go anywhere, they're absolutely not going to go past the second round. So, anyway,
no doubt. No, thanks, Danny. I appreciate it. We'll let you go. And we'll let. Yep.
Have a great night. Sorry, you go ahead.
No, all good, Danny. Thank you very much. We're up against a break here before the top of the hour, so I just want to make sure we'll answer a lot of what you had to say coming back here after a quick timeout. But no, some good thoughts as always. Danny, thank you so much. We'll talk to you on Monday night, hopefully, as the Warriors get the win to go up 2-1, 104-93 the final. 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. We got Greg Silver in the house. We got Will in the house. We got Rob in the house. And, of course, Danny in Vancouver in the house. And Danny declared the series over. Doesn't mean it's going to be in 5, but he thinks tonight will be ultimately enough of a difference-making win for the Warriors to where they prevail. Also agreeing with Greg in that if the Rockets do somehow win the series, they ain't it. They ain't it in terms of the future.
Yeah. Well, always loved Danny in Vancouver. Sad I couldn't have the headphones to hear him tonight, but really appreciate him chiming in. And big thank you to the chat because guess what? No surprise. It's rocking in the YouTube room, and we'll be back with more soon.
Yeah. All right. 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. Let's take a quick timeout here as you listen to KNBR 104.5 FM and 680 AM San Francisco, the sports leader. We're going to come back. Danny's line's open for you. The Golden State Lumber and Showroom text line is open, and we're diving right into the YouTube chat when we come back. Kyle's clicks. Warriors win 104-93, and we're talking about it. It's Dubs OT with JD. Our first playoff game at Harmonic at Thrive City, and we're trying not to lose the license on the sports leader.
live from downtown.
Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang!
This is Dubs OT with John Dickinson on the Sports Leader. Streaming live at KNBR.com and on the KNBR app.
Payton on the wing against Smith. Curry against Green. 6 on the shot clock for 3. Oh, it's wet. That looked like the Papa shot he just showed. It sure was.
Wow, what a night from Stephen Curry as he leads the Warriors to the victory. 104-93 the final at Chase Center. Warriors lead the best of 7, 2-1. Game 4 Monday night. And the games are going to start coming rapid fire. Monday, Wednesday, and then we'll see if there's a Friday or next Sunday. But the Warriors hoping at this point they can just get Jimmy Butler back and just get Monday. Big game from Stephen Curry. I mean, beyond a big game, an out-of-this-world game from Wardell, Stephen Curry. GP2, Buddy Heield. I thought Jonathan Kuminga, I know we talk a lot about Jonathan Kuminga. We'll get back to the phone lines here. Kuminga did not play well early. I don't even care. He got the start tonight. We're not doing the Kuminga debate thing. I know I always say that, and we end up doing it. I'm going to keep it positive on Jonathan Kuminga tonight.
I'll say a quick note.
The buckets he had in the beginning of the third quarter and the defense on Jaylen Green at the beginning of the third quarter, he didn't play much the rest of the night. I don't think he may not have played at all the rest of the night, minus a minute or two. But I thought at a point in which the Warriors had clawed all the way back from down 12 to take the lead and then found themselves down 8 again very quickly, he had a couple of big buckets that helped keep the game close to where the Warriors could, not have to fight back from a big-time deficit. So I thought Kuminga's third quarter minutes, and I'm looking at what he ended up playing tonight for the game, 17. I thought the 5 or 6 at the beginning of the third quarter were pretty good and pretty impactful.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'm not going to get too deep into it either, but just when he got a little bit hurt and was kind of clutching at his oblique or whatever happened there.
I didn't see that, actually.
Okay, and I don't know if that had anything to do with him not playing a little bit more in the second half. He did go in for a bucket and was kind of clutching himself and ended up staying out there. Couple of big buckets and also playing through pain. And on top of that defense in Jaylen Green, I thought that was some big-time grown-up basketball from Kuminga in a short stint. So, again, not going to belabor it, but I'll keep it positive on that third quarter stretch. Otherwise, relatively ineffective, and they found answers elsewhere.
808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. Thomas in Austin, Texas is up next here on the phone lines before we get into the YouTube chat on Dubs OT. Hey, Thomas.
Hey, how's it going, gentlemen?
What's going on tonight, my man? What are you thinking off of this game?
I'm doing well. I was watching this game with some Rockets fans, but I'm glad we pulled it off. I wanted to say, Buddy Heield had a couple rough plays there later in the game. Steven Adams stripping the ball, trying to play make a little bit. But I want to
just don't dribble. Just don't dribble against anybody. Just don't dribble against anybody, Thomas. He was hitting shots, and he was going to be in the closing lineup. But if that doesn't tell you not to dribble against anybody, when Steven Adams picks your pocket and is going back the other way, that is just the all-timer.
Yep, I'm happy he kept taking shots anyways. He still believed in that.
What else you got, Thomas?
I'm a little bit sad Kuminga couldn't make a bigger impact on the game, but I'm happy Kerr saw that, and I think he went away from it. I think that was a good decision.
Yeah, again, I think they gave him the start, and I think part of them giving him the start was because if you see what he's got and you see how he fits, and if it doesn't work out, you can get him out of the game and you can look to go to some other players. And just because sometimes you start a guy that you aren't going to finish the game with unless he's playing really well, and I think Kuminga kind of found himself in that role tonight. But again, Thomas, as we were talking about here before we came to your call, I do think his buckets there at the beginning of the third quarter and some of the defense on Jaylen Green in a pivotal moment of the game really helped the Warriors, prevented the game from getting out of hand there where it could have, and then maybe they aren't able to come back because the Rockets build up a significant enough of a lead. So it's a small thing. I know there's a lot of people saying Kuminga didn't play well tonight. He really didn't in the first half. but I do think he made an impact in the second half. And I think tonight's probably a night with all the negative over the last couple of weeks. We probably shouldn't belabor that and just focus on those 4, 5, 6 minutes where I do think he made a small positive impact that helped them climb back into the game.
Yeah. Do you think Curry can play this many minutes on every game of the series?
That is one thing, Thomas, that Steve Kerr is going to have to evaluate here moving forward. The short answer, Thomas, is no. He ended up at 41. I think tonight is probably the last time until it gets maybe to a Game 7, or either a closeout and or a Game 7 to where Steve Kerr can do it, just because I think he did it because he didn't have Jimmy tonight, but I think the other part is he did it because there were 2 days off in the lead up to this game. The games are every other day or every other day with travel on the off day moving forward now. And there will be travel on every day that there is not a game for the duration, however long this series goes. So I do think tonight you needed to get because it had the potential to flip the series. But I think if you're Steve Kerr, Thomas, you have to, at some point in the next game or two, reduce those minutes back into the low to mid-30s at a minimum, because if this thing goes 6 or 7, the fact that Steph had to play multiple 40s could come back to bite the Warriors. Tonight, you don't care about it because you need to go get wins when they're right there in front of you. Maybe one of these games coming up turns into a blowout and Curry gets a little bit of a rest in that vein, and then you don't have to worry about it. But, again, that is something that definitely needs to be monitored, Thomas, here moving forward.
Right. Thanks a lot. Have a good night.
Appreciate it, Thomas. 808 KNBR 415-808-5627. As we do have a couple of lines open, the Golden State Lumber and Showroom text line 628 Dubs with a statement win, showing they can still dominate and manhandle the Rockets without Jimmy Butler. Well, that's one thing, Greg, the Warriors have done this year. They have beaten the Rockets
without their guys. So game 1, the one where they were up 31, and then it got all the way to tie.
No Steph.
Overtime.
Draymond fouls out.
Draymond fouls out. Then there was the no Steph and Draymond at all game in which Kuminga took over down the stretch.
Right.
I'm trying to think about the other ones. Actually, right before the All-Star break,
they both played.
They all decided to play, and Jimmy Butler was there because that was after their first.
So this
loss
is the third. This is the third win in 8 games.
Yeah.
Where the Warriors didn't have Steph and Draymond or Jimmy, and they've beaten them 3 times in out of the 8 total games. 8-3-1. Thank you. Forgot about Kuminga. He needs more reps and will be explosive. I'm not sure about the last part, but I think the first part he did positively impact the game, I think, in a way that in the second half helped the Warriors come back. Let's get to another call. Eric and Millbrae next. 808 KNBR. Here on the Sports Leader. What's going on, Eric?
What's going on, man? What a game and win tonight. I didn't know what it would look like tonight without playoff Jimmy. I honestly thought the Rockets could steal this game tonight. Gladly, I was wrong. If you're Rockets, you're really looking at yourself like, if you lose this series, looking back at this game, how you lose this game, you're up, and it looks like the Warriors are completely out in the first half. Give up this game like you did, just incredible. Curry was his usual incredible self, but to me, I thought the biggest factor was they don't win this game without GP2 and Heield. I thought they were massive in that fourth quarter. GP2 especially, those scores down the stretch were critical for the Warriors to really take this game over, and just the way they really got them out of sync and grinded out this low-scoring type of game, and how the Rockets really played into their game when you're thinking the Rockets are going to try to go up-tempo without Butler and try to outscore the Warriors. And the Warriors' defense just really stepped up and really held them to serve. So this was just an incredible and impressive game. The Warriors just showed their mentality. And these young Rockets, I mean, they really looked good in Game 2 when Butler went down. But they thought they would have the same type of formula in Game 3. And the Warriors adjusted after a couple of days off and really just took it to them. So hats off. Curry was incredible. But to me, GP2 and Heield, and even a guy like Post, still a couple things here and there, just a complete, and Draymond obviously really taking over that game, getting in their heads. It was incredible, and I hope the same formula for Game 4. It's going to be critical because we know the Rockets want to avoid going down 3-1. So I'm expecting the Warriors are going to come out their game, and I think Butler might be back for Game 4 on Monday night, so it's going to be incredible. But just incredible, impressive game, man. This Brazilian Warrior team manages to do it again when a lot of people thought they were down now tonight without Butler, and the Rockets are going to steal this game from them. Can't wait for Game 4, guys, on Monday night. Thanks for the time.
Thanks, I appreciate it. I think the most impressive part of this game, Eric and Greg, is the fact that the Warriors were not playing well and really didn't have anything offensively other than Steph Curry, and really didn't even have that until Steph got rolling with I think it was a 13-point second quarter. He ended up with 15 at the half and 21 in the second half. So Steph did his part, and he was making every play as we were talking about. But I think the most impressive part of this game for the Warriors, Greg, is just the fact that it's the fact that they didn't have it and they just found a way to win it anyway. That to me is what stands out. And it was a little bit of GP2. It was a lot of Buddy. It was a couple big Kuminga buckets. It was post with the rebounding. It was Draymond. Draymond was a man possessed down the stretch defensively. And Sengun was in hell. Sengun missing layups, missing free throws. Like, the Warriors did a number on him. I think, as much as any of the Rockets' young players, road games hit a little bit different.
Well, also, thank goodness for the sake of the Warriors that Draymond Green had only one foul at the beginning of the fourth quarter, because he picked up 3 in the stretch of, 5 minutes or so, and then ended up getting to 4, and you're thinking, well, if they don't have Draymond Green down the stretch, and when you found out Jimmy Butler wasn't going to be playing, the two things that immediately come to mind, number one, Steph's got to be carrying a heavy load offensively. That happened. And number two, Draymond Green cannot be in foul trouble or technical foul trouble, as we saw him kind of intentionally go and get that one there early in the third quarter. But no, he was fantastic all around defensively, JD. And that's why the Warriors ended up finding a way to get that one out. It actually kind of reminds me of a game that I was at before I was an employee at KNBR. Game 4 of the 2022 playoffs second round against the Grizzlies.
Okay.
When they had a 2-1 series lead, they come home, they blow out the Grizzlies. In Game 3, Ja Morant gets that knee injury. And then Game 4, about 2 hours before, you find out that Steve Kerr's not going to be coaching because it came down with COVID. So they weren't missing one of their key players, but they were missing their coach, and it was Mike Brown filling in. The Warriors played pretty ugly in that game, and they found a way to just do enough down the stretch to come away with that one, which led to the lose by where they were down by as many as 55.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, it became a throwaway game. And I think the Warriors are hoping that Game 5 in Houston can become a throwaway game as well. All right, 808 KNBR, the voice you hear there, Greg Silver. I'm John Dickinson. It's Dubs OT with JD here. Best post-game Dubs coverage in the Bay right here on the Leader, and we're doing it from Harmonic in Thrive City. Kyle Har back in our San Francisco studios. Couple of phone lines open, but let's get to the YouTube chat. The YouTube chat is what makes this thing go. Miles G, Buddy making shots. Am I dreaming? Yeah, Buddy had it going, and I think what a night for Buddy to have it be the night where he does hit shots. The night where you don't have playoff Jimmy, and you're going to need some kind of secondary or tertiary scoring, and he winds up bringing a night where he ended up getting open looks tonight. And I think for him to come through, I think was absolutely huge.
So our guy Austin Scott from Digital KNBR, who's probably posting some fantastic videos for you to scrub through.
Already all over it.
He's all over it. He was telling me, I believe for the Memphis game when we were out here, he said, hey, when's the last time Buddy Heield made a shot that would have been one of those where Chase Center would have just erupted? And I don't know if that necessarily happened tonight, but it was very different in the sense of they just needed a bucket from anybody. And Buddy Heield was absolutely that guy in the first half, and he carried it into the second half. I think the two things that you wonder about when it comes to Buddy Heield. And
the answer is yes, Mike.
Yes, for another closer.
Mike, Mike here at Harmonic checking with us to see if we're going to imbibe a little more here. But go ahead, Greg. I didn't mean to interrupt your point, but Mike can interrupt your point if he's going to bring another brew.
Was that you do wonder, with as great of a first half and as necessary as that was for Buddy Heield, if he was going to go ice cold in the second half. And that was not the case, and they needed every bit of it. It was Gary Payton the second down the stretch. It was Steph Curry down the stretch. But make no mistake, And look, I have not been shy about my opinions of Buddy Heield and how much he can be just brutal out there for the Warriors. He was fantastic tonight because he did what he needed them to do.
Just don't dribble on anybody.
Yeah, as Jimmy Butler said, Buddy, stop that.
Kyle Har could be looking you straight in the face in a defensive stance, and you don't dribble on him because Kyle's going to pick his pocket and go the other way. Erwin Kwon, Buddy shot, don't dribble. Jimmy Butler, Buddy shoot, don't dribble. Yeah, Jimmy Butler. How about Jimmy Butler? Did you catch that video tonight? It was Jimmy just on the bench, like, bro, what are you doing? Like, and Buddy, of course, my bad. As the great Michael Malone once said, my bad will get your ass kicked. My bad gets your ass kicked. That's that. Rich Ray, we've been waiting for the Warriors to be vicious closers all season, and I think the entire team have figured it out. I don't know if they figured it out, but they found a way. Tonight was a quintessential, tonight was a found a way game.
See, I was going to say, I don't even know if I would label it vicious closers as much as just gritting it out and finding a way.
Yeah, I would agree with that. They
Steph is a vicious closer. Draymond Green is a vicious closer. Podziemski, Moody, Gary Payton II made the plays necessary down the stretch.
Well, they put the Rockets in a position where the Rockets needed to make some shots from behind, and I think what they found was when you got the Rockets behind, those shots are a lot more difficult to hit. And I think the Warriors found when you get a little bit of a lead, those shots are a little more easy to make. And that's what allowed Podziemski to be a closer. How about Podziemski, by the way? Did Podziemski break his nose? I think Podziemski might have broken his nose. Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a good night, Will. Our buddy Will in Pacifica, be safe. The good news is Will's got a driver. That's the good news. Like, for everybody concerned about Will's got a driver tonight, which important.
Why would he need a driver?
Read the steed. Chat got drunk just from hearing Will. That's a fact, Reed. That is a fact, Read the steed. Continuing on here at Harmonic. S, just the letter S. What does the rotation look like on Monday if Jimmy is back in the lineup? Well, you're going back to the lineup that won 18 games. You're going back to Steph, Podziemski, Jimmy, Moody, and Draymond. You're going back to that lineup. Quentin Post, I think, proved that he can play. I think the one guy who might be on the outside looking in is Looney. Looney really didn't have it tonight defensively. And we'll get to that coming up here. I had that bookmarked. A little bit of an update on Jimmy Butler. What's going on, my man? How you doing? A little bit of an update on Jimmy Butler and his status.
We got 3 more visitors, by the way.
Let's go. Let's bring them in. Yeah. You want to bring them in? Let's do the intros and say hi.
If they drop F-bombs, they're my responsibility.
No F-bombs.
This is Jacob, Blake, and Russell. They were watching outside of Chase Center.
Beautiful.
In the cold and the rain. First of all, how are you feeling right now?
Yeah.
I'm feeling great. I am excited. I am very proud
duck in a little bit here. Duck in. Yeah, bring it up. Duck in. Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
There you go. What's up, man?
I have to give a shout out to GP2. He really closed down the night tonight. I would have been a very unhappy man tonight if he did not have that dunk. All I got to say.
So that's Jacob. Appreciate it. Thanks, brother.
Blake's got a question.
And Blake has a question.
Hey, everyone. Am I in here?
You are on the air. Just don't swear. Just okay. Duck in a little bit so we can get you on the camera there. There you go.
Hello to all the listeners, first off. So we had a question, actually.
Okay.
Late game. We had a reach-in foul that was contested. Unsuccessfully, correct?
Right.
Thompson on Draymond Green?
Yes. Exactly. You guys watched the game?
I know, believe it or not.
I made this analogy of when you're in you don't pay very good attention in English class, and you're like, how do you use a semicolon, right?
Right.
And I'm an adult. I don't know how to use that or how to enforce that rule. Similarly, how do you enforce the reach-in foul? And it's kind of like, when I'm talking to my friends, it looks bad versus like knowing the actual rules of what is legal guarding
contact.
What is a reach-in foul? Right. Can we clear this up for all the listeners?
Legal guarding position.
Let's clear it all up because I'm I have a good idea. I played basketball, but I don't know the actual rules.
Greg, I'm going to let you handle that one.
Well, first of all, real student of the game. Russell, do you have any thoughts you want to share? we'll get to the reach.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Say hi, Greg.
All right, Russell wants to say hi, Greg.
Russell,
we appreciate it.
Short and sweet.
Short and sweet. We appreciate it.
Wow.
Little camera shy. Russell, a little camera shy. Get your 5 seconds, Russell. Let's go. Come on over. Come on over here, man. Yeah, let's go. Come on over here. Right over here.
Gotta come say hi to the JV camera.
Let the people say what's up. Yeah, that's what it's all about, right? That's right. Appreciate. There you go.
Look at this guy.
All right. What's a foul? What's not a foul? Greg?
Foul. I mean, the reason
808 KNBR. What's a foul? What's not a foul? Chime in.
I think a foul's maybe like when you miss a shot and you follow your rebound and then you just dive head first into trying to rebound Jimmy Butler and he falls down. That's a starter. As far as the reach and foul, I believe in that particular instance, the reason that it was upheld is because Thompson really got his leg in there, and Draymond Green, did he sell the contact? You're damn right he sold the contact, but that's what you do if you are a veteran in the NBA and someone who likes to draw the line and push the buttons a little bit like Draymond Green, push some limits. He knew how to sell that contact, and Thompson got that leg in there to where I think that before the ball was knocked away, they were going to say there was enough contact on a tripping motion before the ball was lost for a fast break layup.
Thompson, dirty player or no?
I mean, no, but I'm with you, and tonight kind of made me lean a little bit more toward the middle.
He tackled Steph Curry for no reason at the end of the game. That was the one that kind of tipped me. That was one of those, I'm going to foul him, and then I got a free shot to kind of roll over and half tackle him. And the game's over. Again, if you can kind of let that one slide if the game is not decided, but when you do it with 30 seconds left and it's an 8-point game, that to me is you're kind of I'm just playing till the end of the whistle, and if something happens, something happens.
All right, so here's my question
which
for you.
I think is exactly what happened in game 2 on the Jimmy Butler play. No.
So they're definitely reckless. I'm sticking with that label. The Rockets are reckless. That can be attributed to maybe some of their youth. Do you think that it can maybe be attributed to who's at the top?
Sure.
And their coach and the one delivering messages?
Ime Udoka was a dirty player. There's no question. Dylan Brooks a dirty player. Draymond Green. Draymond Green's been a dirty player in his career. I'm not. Again, I'm not sugarcoating anything. Dylan Brooks a dirty player. Ime Udoka was a dirty player. That's bottom line.
Wasn't he a king at one point?
For a day.
Oh, okay.
He was one of those guys that got traded at the deadline one year, I think, and then bought out immediately. Okay. So not long enough to be memorable. No. I mean, you're going to go down the rabbit hole. Everybody's going to start turning us off here. But the greatest one-day player I've ever seen, Drew Gooden, played one game with the Kings, and he had a 20-10.
Wow.
And then they either traded him somewhere else or bought him out. This is 2009, 2008, 2009. Drew Gooden.
Andre Ingram.
There you go. That's a good. That's a good one-day game. That's a good one-day game. That's a good stuff. No, that's great. But 20-10 game for Drew Gooden. And I think Drew Gooden was a Bay Area guy, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he was an Oakland Soldier. He was part of that club. I know that for sure.
Okay. Yeah, Drew Gooden. Hey, appreciate you. We're 808 KNBR 415-808-5627 LM. Would the Dubs gamble? This is a great question. Would the Dubs gamble? Billy Joe and Alamo's in the house. What's going on, Billy Joe? Would the Dubs gamble and not play Butler Monday, knowing the worst that can happen is a 2-2 series? No. The answer to that is no, and that's a great segue into the note from Anthony Slater. Slater with some sourced reporting here, so we'll go to it and we'll credit Anthony Slater of The Athletic, who says Jimmy Butler worked out on the practice court pregame, which was something Steve Kerr had said in his pregame press conference he was going to do, treatment and workout pregame. Medical team held him out to give the body 2 more days to heal, but there's a belief he will be back for Game 4 on Monday, with the Warriors looking to take the 3-1 lead. Short answer, no. If Jimmy's ready to come back, you already got one that maybe you didn't think you were going to get. you can't play that game twice because the truth is your advantage in this series is the fact that you only have to win 2 more home games and you're moving on.
Let's also just call it what it is. The Houston Rockets are on the ropes. Is this series over? No, it's far from it. If you're looking at it from the Warriors' perspective, this is far from over. If you're looking at it from the Houston Rockets' perspective, yeah, that was one that you really had to have, and you didn't get it, and it's demoralizing, and you got to play another one on the road. So if Jimmy Butler's good to go out there after what the Warriors just did, you absolutely want to make this 3-1 and put Houston fully on thin ice to where you're thinking they're not going to win 3 in a row, even with 2 at home.
Yeah, that's most definitely where you want to be. 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. More from the chat here. Andis Brown, I love this type of basketball. I'm with you, Andis. Man, give me the chippiness, Andis. We could play on the same team, Andis. I'm with you. Chippiness all series. And I'm always of the belief that Game 4, I've always said this, and actually Larry Bird would always say Game 4 is the most important game in any series.
Oh, so when we had Brian Anderson on the show this week, he brought up Game 2.
Okay.
And said that was an old Greg Popovicism.
Larry Bird would say Game 4 is always the most important game of every series because you either have an opportunity to take control of it or even it, either way, or end it, basically, at that point. I'm a believer that Game 4 is the game in which teams are officially sick of each other. And I'm going to cite the Denver Clippers game today.
Oh, man, what a finish that was.
So if you think, like, they were a game ahead down in Inglewood this afternoon before the game where the Warriors played the Rockets. Game 4, to me, is the game where the frustrations truly start to boil over and teams start to get sick of the same plays and the same faces and the same clutching and grabbing and all of that stuff. This postseason has been the most entertaining in a while. Andis, I think there've been a lot of good games. I think Lakers Timberwolves has been really good. I think Warriors Rockets has been really competitive. I think the Clippers Denver series has been the best series, and then we'll see what ends up happening in some of the games that are to be played tomorrow. But Game 4 is the game where everybody starts getting sick of each other.
So the day that I was out, in fact, the one Papa and Silver I've missed to this point, and make that 2 on Wednesday this week. But
was that the day I was in?
It was the day you were in. You and Greg Papa were getting into the pivot points of a series.
Yes.
And you were using the odd numbers again.
Yeah, it's not Game 4, typically.
Right.
It can be. I mean, it is right in the middle, but
I kind of think it is for this series. And I get that typically Game 3 is a big pivot point. Tonight was a big pivot point.
I mean, obviously, if it's 2-2, then Game 5 is a pivot point. But no, it's always appropriate to say Game 4 could be.
Game 3 with somebody going to lead 2-1 at the end of the night. Of course, it's a pivot point.
And by the way, 74.6% of the time when it's 1-1, the winner of Game 3 wins the series. 74.6% of the time.
So the reason I'm calling this upcoming one a pivot point, JD, is because if you just consider all the other intricacies of this series, the Warriors being at home, the Jimmy Butler injury, Houston's youth, the chippiness between these two teams, everything, if the Warriors can win Game 4 at home, they're essentially telling Houston, you're not ready, you're cooked. And I know it's not mathematically over, but that's the message that's being sent. You're going to have to come to this building one more time.
But here's the thing. The Warriors are not losing Game 6 up 3-2.
Right.
They're not.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to just say that straight up. The Warriors are not losing Game 6 if they're up 3-2.
So if Houston wins Game 4 and it gets tied 2-2, all of a sudden that's a message sent like, hey, yeah, we may be young, but we just tied this thing. Jimmy Butler may or may not be back. And you got to take us seriously because you got to win a best of 3 with maybe 2 of these games being in Houston. And they have a chance, if they win Game 4, for the next time it comes to Chase Center, to be able to afford to lose that game.
Correct.
Big difference than if the Warriors can win and make it 3-1.
Huge difference. And so, yeah, pivot point, I think, to be sure, for Game 4 here as we look ahead to the Warriors and the Rockets, and Jimmy Butler optimistic that he could potentially come back. Kyle, where are we at right now? Can we continue to go? One more chat. Then we're going to take a timeout. Philip Young. And by the way, I love the newbies in the chat. We got a lot of newbies in the chat. And I love Diggum117, and I love Rusty Nail, and I love Jimbo. I love Rich Ray. I love Andis and Gene, who I hung out with in Houston, lives in Houston. Gene, my man, will have to hang out on Tuesday when I come back to Houston.
Well, it's all the newbies. You know, I was Kyle Ha before Kyle Ha.
Exactly. Exactly, Greg. So, but Philip Young, don't forget how much the Rockets dominated the offensive glass game one. Post with a career-high rebounding played a role as well. Well, the Rockets were dominating the offensive glass in this game, I think, at a significant margin. I mean, they ended up with 15 offensive rebounds, but 15 ain't 22, and only 11 second-chance points because the Rockets kept tricking layups, in part because they were intimidated, I think, by Chase Center. I'm kidding. I just made that up. I don't know if that's true. Maybe Draymond Green.
Didn't hurt.
Maybe Draymond Green. Maybe Draymond Green. 808 KNBR 415-808-5627. By the way, have you seen Jimmy Butler's latest IG post? Have you seen Jimmy Butler's latest IG post? It's amazing. It's amazing, and I appreciate Gene with the hat tip to that here on Dubs OT. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Yeah, Greg's going to look it up. It's the Batman. It's the Batman symbol in the sky, only it's with the Steph Curry logo.
And the caption being, "Thanks Batman and team, excluding Buddy."
Incredible. That's absolutely amazing.
By the way, so Klay Thompson and Zaza Pachulia was one of the great random Warriors friendships. Jimmy Butler and Buddy Hield's got to be up there.
It's got to be up there. Because, well, and I think it's important. I mean, we talked about the fact, and I don't think you were on this show, but maybe you were. Maybe it was the final game of the year. Just how much Buddy can be an incredibly frustrating player. We know that. And his the other places that he's played, the fan base of those teams will tell you that, especially the one just down the road. But the Warriors players, for as frustrating as he can be, Warriors players freaking love Buddy. They love Buddy Heield. Like, he is one of those guys that can say a bunch of stupid-ish and get away with it and do a bunch of stupid stuff. And not get away with it as if it's going to go unchecked, but get away with it in a like that it's Buddy kind of being Buddy. And so there's just he winds up not being hated for it, which is not something that you would expect to be the case.
No, not at all. And that's, like I said, I'll say two things on Buddy Heield. One is what you just said. The other is that although he is not a very effective defender on your average night, he does haul ass on defense. Like, you can't knock him for not playing hard on defense. And I actually thought tonight, yeah, it helps when you make 5 threes and you score 17. He wasn't an ultimate liability defensively, and that really was highlighted by the fact that he was contributing on the offensive side. Now, I get it. Steph Curry did not sit a lot of minutes, so that helps because when he's out there, the entire offense of everything just changes. But Buddy held his own for the most part. And, I mean, look, if it's him, if it's Moody, if it's Pajemski, hell, if it's GP2, maybe not Draymond in the course of tonight, but all those guys got to be able to take some open looks when they get them.
808 KNBR, that's Greg Silver. I'm John Dickinson. Derek Pop is here. Marcus Boucher is here. We're all having some brews. Harmonic and Thrive City is lit. Warriors win 104-93. We're going to take a timeout. We're going to come back. More from the YouTube chat. More on the phone lines. Got a couple of lines open. 415-808-5627. Dubs are up 2-1 in the series. What a win without Jimmy Butler. And we are here, and we are talking about it on the Sports Leader.
Dub Nation, this is the real and inside story on Warriors basketball. Dubs OT with John Dickinson continues. Streaming live at twitch.tv/thesportsleader.
For Houston in this game, they're 12 of 22. Leaving some food on the table. Payton inside. Hit Payton on the roll again, and we have a whistle and a foul out here mid-court. Dylan Brooks got leveled.
All right, welcome back. Warriors get the win, 104-93. It's Dubs OT with JD. We're here at Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. Big thanks to Shay and Mike, who are running the show here tonight and doing an incredible job. It has been lit from the moment the game ended. Warriors are up 2-1. Greg Silver's here. Marcus Boucher's here. Derek Papa's here. Billy Joe from Alamo is here. And Derek Papa and Copes are going to be here at Harmonic from 2 to 6 on Monday before Game 4. Doing their show, and then, of course, I'll be back with Greg Silver, apparently.
Yeah.
Are you in? Greg's in.
You know I'm in.
Greg's going to be here for Game 4 following the Warriors and the Rockets. All right, Jaylen Green's asking for it. Greg, I'm just gonna throw this quote. I'm going to throw this quote at everybody because Jaylen Green is, I think, truly asking for it. Jaylen Green postgame asked about the exchange between he and Draymond Green at the Final Horn tonight. Warriors win. Jaylen Green and Draymond Green jawing a little back and forth at the Final Horn. Jaylen Green asked about what that was all about. Jaylen Green says, quote, just talking. He can't really do much of anything else. Talking is his only way. So Jaylen Green.
Did he watch the game?
Jaylen Green on Draymond Green tonight postgame. Well, Draymond Green, yeah, green on green crime, as Derek Papa says. Great, it's a good call. No, it's a good call. Well, Jaylen Green, Draymond Green actually took your center completely out down the stretch.
I also feel
turned him into Domantas Sabonis, basically.
Jaylen Green had a real opportunity to be that guy 3 days ago. Not tonight.
Well, again, that's the immaturity. The Rockets get it from like a competitive standpoint.
Say it after you scored 38.
They don't get it. Like they're learning how to be on the stage.
Right.
And again, you fall behind, especially you fall behind on the road. The true colors and the the overstepping and lack of understanding of your place starts to come in here. He can't really do much of anything else. Talking is his only way. This is a dude who plays with Dylan Brooks. This is a dude who plays with Dylan Brooks. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I'm really confused by this one. I'm sitting here.
It's not confusing. He's just trying to run his mouth.
He's trying to run his mouth. But it's also like, yes, there's the immaturity element. But look, I'm one of the younger hosts on KNBR. I got a couple of the other younger hosts on KNBR right over here. I wouldn't exactly pick my time to talk my S after it was a rough show or a rough day for me.
Put that back up, Kyle. Put that one back up in the chat, in the YouTube chat here. Ian J, JD, Jaylen doesn't want that smoke. Again, I think the Rockets are biting off a little more than they can chew here.
Well, yeah. I mean, again, it doesn't mean they can't come back and win the series. It's just another checkbox on the list of why I'm calling them a highly, highly unserious team. And I'll say this again. If the Rockets do beat the Warriors, they have zero chance against Minnesota or the Lakers.
I wouldn't even go to that second part.
It's not happening.
Like what? If they aren't beating the Warriors. They aren't beating the Warriors unless there's some kind of another injury.
Yeah, if Steph gets hurt, they're beating the Warriors.
I mean, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Well, yeah, if Amen Thompson is able to take both of the Warriors' best two players out by being a dirty player, then the Rockets are going to beat the Warriors. Point blank, bottom line, end of story. San Jose Jazz fan 4. Dylan Brooks bringing that veteran leadership to the Rockets. LOL. Good call there, San Jose Jazz fan. Yeah, I don't think you want the smoke. Erwin Kwong, Rockets can't handle the smoke. We're about to find out. I got another one here, the Golden State Lumber and Showroom text line. 747 Dubs are in the heads of the Rockets and have them out of sync, led by Curry, showing Amen Thompson who the best player in the playoffs is. Are the Warriors in the head of the Rockets? I wouldn't have said it until I saw the Jaylen Green.
I mean, the Amen Thompson foul on Curry, the trash talk after the fact between Jaylen Green and Draymond, and that post-game comment. Also, Ime Udoka talking his stock pregame a little bit, too, about his encounters with Warrior fans. Although I'll give him a little bit of a pass on that because I, too, hate the online world. I like meeting people in person better.
Yeah, Udoka was basically, I don't know if you guys saw this, Udoka pregame, and we have it up on our KNBR socials at KNBR, the great Austin Scott putting it out there. Udoka was asked, I guess Udoka he's kind of like Bruce Bochy.
Yeah.
He likes to go for walks on the road or in different cities. So Udoka was asked pregame about his walks in San Francisco around the team hotel and if he was doing it in this playoff series and what the interactions have been like. Does he get recognized, and what have the interactions been like with some of the Warrior fans? And Udoka basically said, yeah, people get tough on social media, but they see me and they just want to shake my hand and smile and don't have the guts to say the things in person that they put on social media, which isn't exactly a crazy statement, but no. But Udoka also, he basically said, yeah, Warrior fans are soft and they ain't going to really bring the smoke.
Then again, Derek, Marcus, and I have all seen it to an extent. We do agree with that statement by and large. The online world is going to be a lot meaner.
Well, of course. Yeah. Always. But I think, again, the other thing Udoka said was, hey, we're great with this whistle. Keep the whistle that we've had in game 1 and 2, the rest of this series. We're good with that. It was and it wasn't tonight. I thought there was a little bit of an evening. I'm trying to look at what the numbers were. Warriors ended up making so the Warriors only went to the line 15 times, but they were only a -2 at the line. 12 makes. Big part of the story, and I think this is the Rockets kind of wetting the bed a little bit in terms of their first road playoff game. They missed 10 free throws tonight. If they make their free throws, they probably end up comfortably enough ahead to where they win this game, or the Warriors, when they make their final push, the Rockets are able to prevail.
Well, if we look at who got to the line for the Warriors, I mean, it helps to go 12 of 15 when 7 of those 8 are going to be Steph, and he missed the one off of the technical or with a transition take foul. Brandon Podziemski, 3 for 4, made a couple of big ones down the stretch. Draymond made his only one. Jonathan Kuminga, 1 of 2. So, yeah, the Rockets, they've been struggling at the line by and large, and, I mean, that's been a problem since game 1. Game 2, I don't know what their free throw percentage was as a whole, but they controlled that game for such a large part to where they would have had to really struggle there for it to end up being a thing.
No doubt. 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. John Dickinson, Greg Silver. It's Dubs OT with JD and Silver here on the Sports Leader as we roll on here deep into the night from Harmonic in Thrive City. We're going to keep things going until about 10:30 tonight with the early start. Marcus, the water boy, is heading off into the night. Dubs in 5, says Marcus. Put your name on that, Marcus. Grab the mic. Put your face on the camera.
Dubs in 5.
Dubs in 5.
I don't know where the camera is, but I said it
it's
before
right there.
the series
it's
started.
Right there.
Dubs
down.
in 5 with Brian Murphy as my witness. Dubs in 5. This ain't going 6.
All right, Dubs in 5, says Marcus, the water boy Boucher. Make sure you're listening to him Monday morning, 6 until 10. They'll be talking about Game 4. They'll be talking about the Giants series against the Rangers. Another one of these days where the Giants and Warriors are playing. How many times in April? This is like the 5th time in April the Giants played a day game and then the Warriors played after the Giants. I think the Giants have won every game. I think both teams have maybe won every game that's happened. No, the Warriors,
Spurs game.
No, you're right,
Spurs
and
game.
the Rockets game. So forget the Warriors part. But the Warriors held in their end of the bargain in this one tonight. Derek Pop is hanging out. We got Billy Joe from Alamo hanging out. Warriors win at 104-93. Let's go back to the chat. More in the chat. We got Sounds of Dubs OT. Florida Dubs fan. The real Rockets showed up in the second half. They can't shoot. Draymond's defense was special at times. He was defending 2 at a time, and those 2 knew it and could not take advantage of Dre. There were times where the Rockets did look overwhelmed by Draymond Green's defense. Şengün was part of it. I'm telling you, you got to go back. You got to go back and watch the second half. Draymond Green was a man possessed defensively in the second half, and in particular in the fourth quarter. He was off the freaking charts defensively tonight. And again, I mean, that's like, you watch that game and then you see what Jaylen Green has to say, and it's like, bro, you're cooked. Like, you are like that is not. And we've seen this. As much as we've seen the Warriors with their play do this to teams over the years, the Warriors in the middle of series, Game 4, Game 5, Game 6, Game 3, Game 4, Game 5, they mentally break teams that are fragile. And I think the Rockets are right at that fragile breaking point heading into Game 4. They haven't broken, but they're at a point to be broken after Game 4.
Oh, absolutely. That's why I'm calling it the pivot point, even though it's typically the odd numbers, because this is either the moment where we're sitting here on Monday and we're talking about a 3-1 lead, perhaps in which Jimmy Butler comes back. Perhaps maybe he's a little bit pissed off because he got a little injured there in Game 2 and essentially missed, 1 4/5 of a game for the most part? Yeah, quick little math there. So I think Jimmy Butler might have a little extra motivation, or it could be a moment in which the Rockets win one on the road, and we're sitting here talking about a best of 3 over the last 3, in which we're talking about a Rockets team that we take much more seriously than the one that we're discussing tonight.
All right, Kyle Hart, let's get a couple of more Kyle's clicks here. Let's go 3 to 5 Kyle's clicks, rapid fire. LM, Draymond reminded Van Vliet that they won without Butler, probably why Van Vliet and Jaylen Green were frustrated at the buzzer. We used a different word that I cannot say, the George Carlin rule. So LM will auto-edit that here on Dubs OT. Continuing on, Rusty Nail, how good did it feel for GP2 to run through Brooks? GP2 was trying to take Brooks out on that. He was trying. It was a little bit of GP2 with a little of that Amen Thompson energy, I thought, on that particular play. Good stuff, Rusty Nail. Another one, best game GP2 has had in a couple of years. Everything working inside out. When GP2 is getting that kick out corner, spot up 3 to go down, that's when you know it's a big night for GP2. GP2 was awesome tonight. I mean, that is the quintessential. You never think of GP2 as a scorer ever. Never, ever. But taking and making the open shot, making the right cut, converting on the interior, all of those things are the things that GP2 can do when he's right, and he did them tonight.
I jokingly said to Derek in the second quarter when the Warriors had, I believe, 3 points over the stretch of a good 5 minutes, maybe 6 minutes or so, and I said, hey, which one of the 1 field goals made was your favorite in this quarter? And it was a Gary Payton the second 3. That was at the low point of the Warriors offense, and yeah, that was kind of a joke about GP2 making the 3 and that not being the guy you usually think is going to contribute. But what he did in the fourth quarter in particular was masterful, being the perfect pick and roll partner to Steph. You mentioned Steph and how he kind of had that playoff Jimmy or LeBron kind of a stat line where he really did a little bit of everything. Well, the reason that showed up in the box score, and a big reason, was Gary Payton II capitalizing off of those roles and getting it done, and ultimately putting the Rockets in position to where they had to make the tough shots when they were down to try to get back in the game.
He's Greg Silver. I'm John Dickinson. 808 KNBR. Let's take a quick timeout. We'll come back and we're gonna go rapid fire in the chat with Kyle's clicks. We're also going to get our Sounds of Dubs OT, the best of the best from postgame as the Warriors get the win over the Rockets. 2-1 series lead. The vibes are high. 104-93 the final. It's KNBR 104.5 and 680 the sports leader.
KNBR presents the sounds of Dubs OT.
I can see the headline now. Kerr says Warriors better without Curry.
No class, no balls.
I want to get my joy back. I'm happy here, off the court.
Now here's John Dickinson.
All right, welcome back. It is Sounds of Dubs OT. It's John Dickinson and Greg Silver here from Harmonic in Thrive City. Warriors win 104-93, the final. It's time for Sounds of Dubs OT. We got fun with numbers coming up here, as I think we're going to keep it going till about 10:30 tonight and then call it a night. So about 2 hours straight up here. And, of course, we'll reconvene after the Warriors and Rockets Game 4 back here at Harmonic in Thrive City here on the Sports Leader. All right, let's dive right into it. We got a couple of Steve Kerr. We got a Steph Curry. We got a couple of Draymond Green. We're also gonna hear from Buddy Heield tonight. It Sounds of Dubs OT.
When was the last Buddy Heield Sounds of Dubs OT?
Probably November, maybe October.
Like, has Kyle Har ever played a Buddy Heield cut?
Probably not. No, seriously, probably not. Because we play the hits.
I will say these are worth it.
Yeah,
these
Kyle.
are worth it.
Yeah, these Buddy Heilds are worth it, says Kyle Har. No question. I'm not quibbling, and we appreciate everybody in the YouTube chat. We also have our final installment of Kyle's clicks here between now and 10:30, and we may go a little bit beyond 10:30, but things are starting to wind down a little bit here inside Harmonic at Thrive City. All right, let's go. Cut number one. Head coach of the Warriors, Steve Kerr, on the ability for this team to step up with Jimmy out and it not being something new for the Warriors when you go back to prior playoff series that they've had.
Buddy flipped it. Gary Payton flipped it. Both those guys. But everybody contributed. Quentin had 12 rebounds. We had Moses come in and make a huge three in the second half. But this is what the playoffs are about. They're about injuries and they're about guys stepping up. And we had both today with Jimmy being out. You have to be able to withstand that and win a game here and there. We've done that for many years. We've had some of our most important guys, miss multiple games in series. So this is what you have to do. You got to find a way, and our guys did that today.
All right, so Steve Kerr there talking about just the ability for others to step up, and it really, truly, you could go up and down the box score for the Warriors tonight, Greg, and you could find a contribution from literally everyone that helped the Warriors win this game. You can find a positive thing to say. And I mean, of the 9 who played, Kuminga, we talked about already. Draymond, we've talked about already. Man possessed defensively. Kuminga in that third quarter, his best little 5-6 minute stretch helped him.
And playing through some pain there on the oblique or whatever it was.
Quentin Post, 1 for 7, but 12 rebounds, 4 assists, a block, and a steal.
And let's be honest, they needed him out there for the spacing element.
And and just the size. Pajemski, guy probably broke his nose. Might have broke his nose. Curry, is Curry, Payton, Moody tonight, Looney, Buddy Heield. It's just everybody who played you could make a positive case about.
And that's what you need if you're going to try to win a game without Jimmy Butler. Let's do it again. And I said this to our guy, San Jose Jazz fan, who I was hanging out with at the draft show. You mentioned hanging out with Gene McIntyre. I got a little jealous. So me and San Jose Jazz fan and a bunch of our YouTube crew were chopping it up down at Jack's Restaurant on Thursday when the 49ers were picking. But I said, look, Jimmy Butler misses 1 game. You can get away with it. Jimmy Butler misses 2 games. You got to find a way to win 1. Jimmy Butler misses 3 games. It's going to be a big problem. And he missed 1 so far. They found a way to win.
Sorry, apologies. I was blocking on social media our guy Victor Banda, who came at me on X for realizing tonight that Amen, changing my opinion on Amen Thompson. He basically said I needed to do my research before having a take. Victor, vamos. You're done.
JD doesn't do his homework. I'll tell you that straight
Victor,
up.
you're done. Victor, have a nice life, my man. That's the last time you will ever see a tweet from me, my friend. Adios. Adios. It's like the blue drink. Adios. What Greg Papa likes to say.
Da-da-da-da-da. Goodbye, mofo.
Exactly. See you later, Victor. Have a nice life. All right, let's continue on here on Dubs OT. You don't mess around. You do not mess around with JD. Number 2 from Steve Kerr, talking about the second quarter. The Warriors got back in the game, and this is a point we haven't discussed. They got back in the game with the way they played in the second quarter, cut it all the way down to 3 after they were down by 12. Steve credited the close to the first half as a critical component to the Warriors' victory.
Yeah, it's a big-time win. I mean, you could see we were out of sorts early. With Jimmy out, we changed the starting lineup. We went to some combinations that we've barely played all year, and it took a while for us to find some rhythm. But I thought what kept us in the game was our defense. They got up, I guess, 13 at the most. But these days, 13 doesn't feel like that big of a deficit. And I thought the key to the game was the way we closed the second quarter, to pull within 3 and get some momentum. And we felt pretty good at halftime as a result.
Yeah, into the second quarter. And look, Steve admitted what I put out there on social media in the second quarter. I mean, he was really searching tonight. I know there was a discussion about having a plan if Jimmy can't play. It really didn't look like there was much of a plan. I mean, Kuminga ended up starting. They put Quentin Post out there. They moved Moody to the bench. I thought the whole first half was searching for 5 players that could play together. And then once you find that, hopefully you're still in the game to where you can put those 5 players out there together at the end.
So was it 9-0 to end the second quarter?
9-0 to end the second quarter, and that was something that I had bookmarked in my notes. 9-0, it was led by Curry, who ended up with 13 in the quarter of his 15, but Buddy had 8 in the quarter. There were a couple of free throws late. And, yeah, I mean, Steph really, I thought, came alive at the end of the quarter there
and he needed to
push the Warriors. Again, yeah, this had to be like you're not beating the Rockets without Jimmy Butler unless Steph Curry goes nuts. And the start of Steph Curry going for 36 was the 13 that he had in the second quarter.
Well, yeah, and I think we knew that back in game 2 as well, when Steph Curry had that nice little stretch in which he was exchanging threes with the Rockets, but by and large, that was not a Steph Superman kind of game. No support outside of like Pat Spencer contributing 9 for the Warriors in that one. And on top of that, Jaylen Green, who actually did have a right to talk, went for 38 and went nuts. So there was really no hope there for the Rockets after Jimmy Butler went down and everybody had to kind of adjust on a whim. And Steve Kerr didn't really have a chance to do any kind of planning. And I think it's fair to say that the first half tonight was a lot of searching, because for them to be down 3 going into the break, just telling you, being in that building, that felt very fortunate from the standpoint of Golden State.
All right, let's continue on. Post-game, Steph Curry here as he was on the ABC telecast in the aftermath of the Warriors win. They get it done 104-93 over the Rockets. And Steph addressed the fact that they were grinding this one out until the shots started to fall.
You just kind of have to grind it out, stick with the runs. We had 22 points like halfway through the first half, and you're looking at like, how are we going to score? You just stick with it, make the right play, and then shots started to fall. We made a really good defensive stand. Draymond was unbelievable. Everybody who came in stepped up and replaced Jimmy, and hopefully he's back soon.
Yeah, we'll see if Jimmy Butler is able to come back on Monday. But, again, I think this is the ultimate in grinding one out for the Warriors, Greg.
Well, and you had to. I mean, I was frankly surprised, and I was putting this out on social media. With that first quarter, I was shocked at how well the defense played, considering that your starting lineup was Steph Curry, Brandon Podziemski, Quentin Post, Draymond Green, Jonathan Kuminga. I don't exactly think of that as a particularly strong defensive lineup. I understand it from the vantage point of if you're going to start Kuminga and you're going to do it at the 3, you want to have someone out there in post that can be a stretch 5 and space it out. If anything, I thought it was going to be a higher scoring quarter than what we've really seen for the bulk of this series. And instead, it was what we'd been used to with Warriors defense was great. Offensively, they had nothing, and they were getting a handful of quality looks too. They just couldn't find an answer for the first 18 minutes of this game.
No, they couldn't, and eventually they found it, but you don't win this game without a lot of grit until the shots eventually start to fall, and that's exactly what the Warriors did. All right, let's hear from Draymond Green. Couple of Draymond, and then we'll get to the Buddy Heield. We'll get to the Jaylen Green here on Sounds at Dubs OT. John Dickinson, Greg Silver from Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. Warriors win 104-93 over the Rockets to take the 2-1 series lead. Draymond Green. Big picture thinking here from Draymond on what a win without Jimmy means moving forward.
I think for us psychologically, it just kind of reconfirms to ourselves that we can do it, that we're capable of making any adjustment, next guy up mentality. I don't know what it does for them. That's not really my focus. My focus is what happens in our locker room and, the way Buddy stepped up, the way GP stepped up, QP with 12 huge rebounds. Loon played really good minutes for us. So, just to see other guys step up in his absence was huge.
Yeah, others stepping up without Jimmy. Again, I think the question was about is it demoralizing to the Rockets? So Draymond didn't really want to get into that, but it definitely adds, I think, a level of confidence in showing what different players can provide from the Warriors standpoint. I mean, the Warriors have not been a team that's looked capable of doing what they did tonight against another playoff team. Even a team as inexperienced as the Rockets. I mean, the Warriors had not at any point showed that they had this game in the bag without Jimmy. They had won a couple of games without Steph. Well, one, I guess, with Jimmy and not Steph. They had won some games earlier in the year without Steph. They had not shown they could be this team without Jimmy since the trade.
No. I mean, let's be honest. This was a team, and I hate to sound like a broken record to a certain point, but the Warriors without Jimmy Butler may not have been a top 10 team in the Western Conference.
100%.
Warriors without Jimmy Butler and also without Andrew Wiggins, the big piece you lost in that trade, that's an even lesser version of what they were. So to go and find a way to win this one tonight and really grind it out, if they were to win this game, it was going to be in that fashion. And here's the thing about the all-time greats, like a number 30 wearing blue and gold, and unfortunately like a Patrick Mahomes, and I'm sorry to bring that up on the flagship of the 49ers, but just generally with those type of players, if you leave the door open a little bit too long, even if it's a crack, they're going to make you pay.
They're going to drive a Mack truck through that opening and end up ending a game or potentially ending a series with their ability to close there. The voice you hear there is Greg Silver. I'm John Dickinson. Dubs OT with JD. We're about halfway through here. Our sounds at Dubs OT as the Warriors get the win 104-93. Let's continue with Draymond Green talking about being an enforcer and loving every second of it.
You better have one on your team or you just get bullied. So I take pride in being that for our guys, being that for this franchise for many years. But, I thought it was time to take one right there, so I did and made sure I got one. And then I kept it pushing, got back in the game. But it was, sometimes stuff like that is needed, and I felt like it was needed there.
All right, so Draymond on his technical there, that was one that he was absolutely trying to get when he picked it up.
Second he slapped the floor as he was getting up.
Well, he walked right to the official.
You knew where he was going.
You knew what time it was. Yeah. No, without a doubt. And look, the Rockets are nothing but enforcers, right? I mean, the Rockets may be all enforcer, no actual basketball team.
Yeah, and that's the difference right there. That's the difference between Draymond Green and the kind of enforcer that he is versus Dylan Brooks and the kind of enforcer he is. Because Draymond Green, for as much as fans or even players of the 29 other teams in the NBA may despise that man, he's also been a monumental piece for winning in one of the great sports dynasties. Dylan Brooks, when he was in Memphis, ran his mouth so hard that when he was, wait for it, a 2 seed going against a 7 seed in LeBron James and the Lakers, ran his mouth so hard to the point where LeBron James made a show about confronting him pregame and doing a whole talking thing.
Yeah.
And the Lakers completely controlled that series and they ran away with it, and that was the end of Dylan Brooks' time in Memphis.
Greg, you got to drink your beer, man. Like we're trying to clean this thing up and get everybody out of here. So you got to drink your beer. I'm going to talk, and I'm going to set up these cuts so you can catch up here. So Mike can get out of here and Shay can get out of here, man. We're trying to wrap this thing up. Let's go. A couple Buddy Hields back to back. And first one, and this is amazing. I mean, you saw that you caught on the bench the exchange with Buddy and Jimmy Butler. Here's Buddy Heield, who got asked about Jimmy Butler's coaching advice.
Terrible advice. Terrible advice. I just was tuning him out the whole time. He's been good. He's been positive. He's telling me how to read drives. Except for that one time I get picked by Steven Adams. He just gave me a look, and I was like, yo, don't even talk about it. Yeah. But he's been good. He's just talking and just encouraging everybody and just – especially when Draymond get attacked, he was letting everybody know that was good for our team. He goes, "Don't get us going," and that was big. It changed the game for us.
So good advice, all good advice, except for when he got picked by Steven Adams, and also Jimmy, I guess, according to Buddy, went down the bench when Draymond picked up the tech, and told everybody on the bench that it was good for the team that Draymond picked up the tech.
How about the way Jimmy Butler has fit in for a guy that was reported to have concerns by Steve Kerr, Steph Curry, and Draymond Green that he wouldn't fit in the locker room? Jimmy Butler has embraced the role perfectly to being not the face of the franchise, and that clearly being Steph. He has also embraced his role and his fit within the system perfectly, and now he's missing a game. And he's embracing Draymond Green technical fouls.
All right, here's Buddy Heield part 2 on what Steph Curry or what he had to do with Jimmy out, the Robin being out for Steph Curry, what Jimmy had to do.
I know Robin was out tonight, so I had to step up. that was it. I had to be an Alfred tonight. I know Jimmy's out. And just knows at stake. You don't want to go down 2-1 in the series, especially at home in first playoff game here. Want to make an impression and match the physicality and just come out and make shots and relaxing making shots and just trying to be a spark plug for this team and do all the right things I can be and be efficient as I can.
Wait, Kyle, did he say be an alpha or be an Alfred? Is Alfred a Batman character?
Alfred is a Batman character.
Yeah, okay, Alfred. Alfred is a Batman character. Okay, I'm a little.
It's okay. I'm not a huge Batman guy myself.
I thought so, but okay. So Buddy was in on it. Tonight.
Yes.
Okay, so he had to be an Alfred tonight. So he was an Alfred tonight. Okay. All right. That's that. I like that. So Buddy had to be an Alfred tonight.
I'm telling you, it's one of the most improbable friendships in the Warriors organization over the years. But man, Jimmy and Buddy. Whatever they got going, I don't want to get any part of it. Just keep doing it.
No, just keep doing it. All right, let's hear our final one here on Sounds of Dubs OT. It's from Jaylen Green, and we already read the quote. This is short and sweet. Here's Jaylen Green of the Rockets post-game on the exchange with Draymond Green.
Yeah, it was just talking. He can't really do much of anything else, so talking his only way.
Did he have a word or two to say to you after the game there?
Yeah, the game was over. Don't matter.
All right, so Draymond's response, the game was over, it don't matter what Jaylen Green had to say after Jaylen Green going in on the fact that Draymond's got nothing else in the bag other than talking. Yeah, that might be the first little tipping point in terms of are the Rockets cooked?
I understand that we reside in the Bay Area and we're going to talk about everything from the Warriors' perspective. But Jaylen Green, come on, what are you doing? Draymond Green's done this before, and if he's talking like that, it's just not a great sign if you're Houston.
All right, let's get to our Kyle's Clicks, and then we'll get to Sounds of Dubs OT. We're going to do I'm sorry. We just did Sounds of Dubs OT. We're going to get to Kyle's Clicks, and then we're going to do Fun with Numbers to close things out here in our final 5 to 8 minutes or so of the show. Kyle, let's roll with Kyle's Clicks first. What do we got? Let's go top 5, 8, however many. Houston, Mario. Houston, Houstdone. Houston.
Not going there yet.
Greg doesn't like that. Greg's a little semicolons are for Karens, says playoff knees. That's bee's knees. Greg?
Don't hate on Blake's question.
Don't hate on Karens?
Well, Blake
Is that what Greg Silver said?
Blake
wait,
talked
what?
about the semicolon.
Okay.
I love
I'm
Karens.
I'm kidding.
Hey, Karen, if you're listening, love you.
Greg's girlfriend's. Wait, no, she's not.
Okay, come on, man. I wouldn't date a Karen. Jeez.
No, she's not. I'm sorry. It's actually Heidi. I'm sorry. That's not. I DVDV. Dirty Rockets, empty sockets, hands in pockets, Dubs in 5. I love that with the Shannon Sharp. Should we be even referencing Shannon Sharp tonight?
Now let's talk about Jay-Z instead.
Wow.
Moving on.
Greg Silver as Adam Copeland. San Jose Jazz fan 4. When Buddy slowed it down, I said rut-row, and then Adams went DPOY on him. Steven Adams looked like Gary Payton, the original, on Buddy Heield. He looked like GP's dad, GP2's dad, just picking his pocket and going back the other way. Cost Draymond a foul, too, because Draymond had to wrap up Adams, and then Adams hit both free throws on that play.
In a way, was hitting both free throws the worst, though, because it felt like they couldn't get a rebound off a missed free throw.
SD7777. JD had more trust in Will, like Kerr does with his vets. I did. I trusted Will, and I thought it was going to pay off, and then Will drops an F-bomb. Come on, Will. FOH. Come on, Will. Like, bro, I said there's one rule. And he was doing fine. And
he was kind of cooking, actually.
He was cooking. Well, he was kind of out of it, but but he hadn't cussed yet. And then I had too much trust in Will. That's on me. All right, one more. Or two more. One more and then the final one. One more, yeah. Moses, mother, blah, 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 Moody. Take us to the promised land. All right, now let's get to our comment of the night.
Now, time for the Dubs OT comment of the night.
Dorian Giovanni, this show tonight is organized chaos. That's right. The people, remember, who thrive in the chaos are the people who know what's coming.
Yeah, like
right?
Will.
Right, like Will. Right, you thrive in the chaos. The only people who thrive in the chaos are the people who are creating it. That was the quote.
Incredible comments of the night.
And we know it's coming, and so we thrive in it. All right.
Why don't I come on every show? This is great.
Let's do fun with numbers to end the night here.
This is Dubs OT with JD. Time now for fun.
I'm a fun guy.
With numbers.
No, I'm just having fun.
On KNBR 104.5 and 680. Streaming live on KNBR.com and the KNBR app.
All right, Warriors are up 2-1 in the series over the Rockets. They scored over 100 points for the first time in the series. They also were over 50 in any half of the series for the first time in the second half. They had not gone over 50 in any of the halves the first 5 of the series. Warriors ended their regular season losing their final 3 home games, so they won tonight to win in the playoffs. They had beaten the Grizzlies, of course, in the play-in game there. Steph with 36 to go with 7 boards. Game-high tying 9 assists. Curry moved into 10th place on the NBA all-time playoff points scored list, moved ahead of Tony Parker. Steph also now has the most points by a point guard in NBA playoff history. Impressive stuff there. And Steph is basically in this thing now averaging he's averaging about 35, 7, and 6 in the series roughly. We talked about Buddy 17, GP2, career playoff high 16, and Quentin Post had 12 boards in his first career playoff start. We'll see if Jimmy Butler can come back and play on Monday. That's going to do it for us. Thanks to Kyle Haar. Kyle, is there anybody we need to thank in studio?
Yeah, we had Cole and Kyle Chung helping out, and I can't help but think that the Warriors won because Kyle Chung was here.
We had Cole Lapelt helping out Kyle Haar, and then Kyle Chung's plus-minus is undefeated. Again. Greg?
I mean, Tim Webb's got to schedule Kyle Chung for these Warrior playoff
Well,
games.
and even if he doesn't, he just comes in and he hangs out, and then the Warriors win. Because his plus minus is like, he's like the Pajemski of plus minus.
By the way, Draymond Green just moved up to 19th in all-time playoff steals.
I love it. 19. That's a good one. That's one I had marked, and then I lost my place because we're trying to get out of here. For Kyle and Greg Silver and Derek Papa and Billy Joe from Alamo and Shay and Mike and everybody here at Harmonic, we'll talk to you Monday night. Warriors win at 104.93. It's KNBR 104.5 at 680. The sports leader.
Brooks out top against Pajemski. Turns the corner. Green with the block. Great defense by Draymond Green as the low man coming off Şengün to block that shot.
Emirates Cup or bust?
Oh, hell yeah.
First of all, you got to start off liking each other.
I'm super cereal.
Big fat dub.
Ain't nobody going to stop me.
I just wake up and I can shoot it no matter if I'm playing or not.
But great win.
Who are these guys?
I love you, JD. Bye, sugar.
I can see the headline now. Kerr says Warriors better without Curry.
Jimmy freaking Butler puts it in.
Obviously, I'm shooting the ball well. It's pretty obvious.
Batman comes out of nowhere. You never see him coming, then he just falls from the sky, from a building, behind the door. Everything's gonna be all right.